Good afternoon again. Family away, listen to in our house. Family away, listen to in our place. Across the country, we bring Guna back today the weekly and usual government press conference. We now want to platform them for able make sure say we narrow the gap between citizens them and the government. And normally, when I say the minister, when a minister sharing a Bulaiba, normally that we host. But today, because me and the work fine one, a delegate say, let me chair this particular one, la hoster. So I want to tell and thank you because now the part of the engagement that one day for make a day for the support of the government. But today, in the usual way, we go start with we normal updates across government on waiting done happen. Then from that one day, I will also introduce the panelists the way we get for can talk on the thing we get today. And after that one day, I will get questions them way they don't pose. Una no say every time before the press conference, we put flyers them out and we put links for make sure say people across the country there's a platform. If you're not physically able to come our press conference, make you ask questions. Because everybody in voice matter. And everybody in voice we get for your ear. Then all commander we will also get questions from Una. We don't take Una time, or I don't can spend time with you today for come participate in this press conference. So I will start with the normal updates across government. The first thing I want to talk about, we almost say on Sunday, His Excellency the President left Salone for Ghana, Nairobi, Kenya, for attend the inaugural African Climate Summit under the theme Driving Green Growth and Climate Finance Solution for Africa and the World, where they will put for make it starts from the 4th to the 6th September. We are the President of Kenya, we are His Excellency William Ruto, now in the post one day. Now make we get we elder brother and mentor and possibly self don't serve as Minister of Information before. We now the spokesperson for the President for David Tree for can give updates on what's happening at the presidency. Vice President Dede also he joined in brother and in colleague when the President William Ruto for make a launch which they call Financing Locally Led Climate Action, when a Kenya initiative for robust climate adaptation efforts in Kenya. In fact, when the President go on that program he launched in the night, he say in look forward for work with the government of Kenya and other development partners for make them formulate similar initiative we will strengthen we want them across Sierra Leone. The President also joined in border when the President of Kenya for make able launch what they call the new accelerated partnership for renewables in Africa. Yanda Sef, the President also talks say this will also echo what's the collective aspiration for make the scale up action for transform the energy sector and we lead green economic evolution. The President we did it also in the whole engagement with Salone people in Kenya. Also, the leadership and management of the Ministry of Finance over the weekend also began a 3-day strategic planning retreat, way for guide how the ministry for able effectively mobilize and manage public resources where they want to align with government commitments for the People Manifesto, the Big Five. And in our stop there over the weekend as well, now make we get the Mayon Senior, we the Lanet Solicitor General, but also government through the Ministry of Justice and also Attorney General and the Chief Minister, then we all a retreat also for look at the government white paper will be launched some time ago, and also look at waiting at the next steps we will therefore do on that day. So now make we also get the Solicitor General. And just yesterday, Monday, the Minister of Information and Civic Education when Mr. Chairman Abulai Ba, they also do an unannounced visit na the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation transmitting facilities na Leicester Peak. We know say yanda na the whole boku facility them for telecoms, for radio stations them, for TV stations them across the country. If you go there, for go look at how the facility there, what the facility need for make we able increase the capacity and strengthen them, but also for see how you go able form part of we policy thinking and direction them as we take up office. Also, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Musa Paka, over the weekend also be engaged farmer in Atomabum as part of his strategy for Feed Sierra Leone, and they also monitor activities then on the regional rice value chain project and the Sierra Leone rice agro-industry cluster project. Now, Boom Chiefdom, now Bond District. You not stop there. The Deputy Minister too of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Madam Mamusu Patricia Masakoy, also a commend teacher them and pupils them for the high turnout we happy for the first day of school. We have yesterday, and also it be visit schools them both in the eastern and western area for see how they're ready and plan themselves for the new 2023 and 2024 school academic year. The Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Madam Nabila Tunis, also be meet with the management of Miltimagai Technical University, the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, and also inspect ongoing construction projects that really happen among and across the sectors that within the ministry, but also at the Miltimagai University. Now, the purpose of this visit, where we make, now for make sure say they assess the ongoing enhanced integrated framework project, where then they get consultants, where they help them for do that work there. And I will also end with a press release where come out from the Ministry of Labor, where then tell we say that government will make commitments for promote decent work for Sierra Leoneans. So the Ministry of Labor in June 2022 last year, they signed a memorandum of understanding with the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the recruitment of migrant workers then from Sierra Leone to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, because of this memorandum we then signed, the Embassy of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia we then get the office na Conakry, Guinea. Then they conduct rigorous assessments for me they accredit certain licensed private employment agencies them for recruit them migrant worker there, and also that they create 3 medical centers for conduct the medical examination test where candidates that will put themselves forward for this recruitment will go through. In the press release, they name the 4 private employment agencies then. The first one, now SOS Global Investments, Sierra Leone, Human Resources Global Consultancy, Sierra Leone Limited, Suma's Traveling Consultancy Agency, Sierra Leone Limited, and Seasons Limited. So there 4 agencies there, now the one where the Ministry of Labor and the government of Saudi Arabia approve for the recruitment process there. They also don't accredit 3 agencies for do the medical test. When Ramsey Medical Laboratories, EcoMed Medical Center, and Shuma Hospital. Now the press release they emphasize say only the agency there and the medical center there. Now then people for deal with for this recruitment process. Now the update there, the summary. And I go one for make I introduce me panelists them. We come for come every today for this discussion. Today, like I don't talk about the updates, part of what you want to do, one focus on how governments they do for strengthening with democratic institutions and with state institutions there. And for make we talk that one day, we get people away they na this field. Whether na ministers there, na people na senior government officials there, where they work for look at the boku thing that we government they do, for see how we go with strengthening processes, for see how we go able to consolidate with peace and national cohesion of the country, and also importantly, people who get experience, like people like we that with we Alpha Khan, for see waiting at the presidency we simply do for move the process forward. So for start, I go on for introduce to the minister when Amara Kalon, when the Minister of Public Administration and Political Affairs, we can give you general updates on how it go for reform with public service and also how they strengthen with state institutions. And also we get Madam Awa Salis Samai, we na the Executive Secretary for Independence Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. We go also can give you updates on post-election peace consolidation efforts. We know say after the elections, we concerns them be raised. We board external APC be raised some concern them, and also then decide say for now they only take part from governance. But because governments believe in inclusive governance and inclusive participatory democracy, we not sit down. We try for reach out and extend olive branch. The president be talk way to state opening for say, for dialogue and for talk. And the government outfits and body responsible for that, now the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, when I make we get the executive secretary now who can give updates and waiting they happy. We also get now the immediate right, Robert Baumakoa Esquire, we are the Solicitor General, we are the principal person when they advise the AG. We know say that office they advise government on all legal matters in the country, and also part of them portfolio now for look at the constitutional review. So instead then I also for can give you updates on the commitments with government we don't make now the white paper and also the constitutional review process. And like I said earlier, we get now Alpha Kano working called AK11. We can also give you general updates on the presidency, everything that happened, and how president the one for move the country forward for peace consolidation and national cohesion. So normally we can ask the panelists them for make a general opening statement of 8 minutes. All done, we will take the 4 sets of questions them from the link, and then we take questions them also from inside. So I will start for invite the minister, Amara Kalon, for give you updates on the reform of the public service and also how government ready and plan for strengthening state institutions. Mr. Minister,
Thank you very much, my brother, Minister Yusuf Teketoma. Colleagues, sorry, I will say colleagues because so we all are colleagues and one of our brothers. Me Amara Kalon, as they say, the minister responsible for public administration and political affairs. So basically, what I can do now, just for give an overview and don't understand what they happen and what's our one for go. One, the ministry, the president in Inyun, prerogative as the president of Sierra Leone, deem it fit that there is a need for them to establish a Ministry of Public Administration and Political Affairs. Based on the context that we the SFP developed the manifesto, the 4th pillar of the manifesto is say they want to reform the public sector of Sierra Leone, and when they win the election, they decide to establish a whole ministry for look exclusively on that particular pillar, and they appoint me for the take of that responsibility for the next 5 years to come. Well, previously it was the Ministry of Political and Public Affairs, so now they undergo a transition for become the Ministry of Public Administration and Political Affairs. I don't want to go into details in terms of waiting at the issues they would try to address. So let me take you through one. We don't see the need that there is lots of development activities that when you go out, we don't go on in the past 4 or 5 decades in Sierra Leone. And we see in 1948 they established the Public Service Commission, and the Public Service Commission, we get a lot of responsibility for recruits and most extent for the civil service. But over the period, Sierra Leone don't grow. So we get a lot of agencies that we establish, we form the public service, and we also get the civil service. But don't reach a point in time where the presidency say we need to go back and look at the books there, the laws that were established, the institutions that we deliver service for this country. But then we see if really they are well seated in terms of international best practices. So that's the need for this ministry. So what we don't do so far, we'll take over. One, we don't do family affairs on we don't look at all the institutions. The HRMO, we don't visit them without the Human Resource Management Office, we deal with recruitment and other things. We don't visit the Public Service Commission. We get the statutory responsibility for the public service. We don't visit the Public Service Reform Unit, where there be formal Apakaba in terms for reforms to key ministries and institutions in this country. We don't visit the head of civil service and cabinet secretariat because now in the preside over the HRMO and the PSC. We don't visit them. We don't get a meeting with the Secretary President. We don't get a meeting with the Vice President also. And we still continue to get meetings then for them we know it. Call them a scoping visit. It's a familiarization and a scoping visit. One, know what they do, and then we get a first-hand understanding of what they do, and who's okay with help, who's okay with partner with them for them, make sure we do the reforms. So as a result of that, His Excellency the President looks say this assignment is a big assignment because the whole our public administrator is the whole country, including the presidency. So he asked the Vice President for them to take 2 of the key pillars under the manifesto for them to decide over. So one is the public administration and job creation. So we don't get the first meeting with the Vice President, we don't establish the technical working group. This technical working group include the HRMO, the PSC, and all those institutions where they deal with public administration. The reason behind it, one, we need to get a vision for this ministry. We need to get a mission, and we need to get the mandate for establishing. And once we don't do that, then the next thing what we do, we take those mandates and all the things that we go to cabinet for their cabinet approval. Once cabinet approval, okay, now this ministry become a legally established ministry, then now we go into full-blown activities. Once we don't get that, we move to the next stage, but then we get the roadmap. Well, we're not in a rush because public administration, not to 10 days or 20 days or 1 year, therefore take the next 10, 15 years for them we go because the dynamic things and the change. The world don't become a global village, technology they play a big role. So there's going to be a lot of changes when we go play a lot of reforms. So we need to develop a roadmap. So even if me not did it, I did it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, if me not did it, the next minister they can just sit down on that roadmap and continue whose I made us stop. So the whole idea now for them we get this roadmap. But the ministry itself for establishment, we need also for the management and functional review. As I say, the ministry is political and public affairs, and the transit to Ministry of Public Administration and Political Affairs. So we need for that MFR for the management and functional review. We for giving the organogram based on the mandate and the vision. We will give you the manpower we will need for doing activities, the office space who we need, the finances who we need, where finance will provide for me, and that MFR and inform that. And once the MFR don't complete, don't go through cabinet, don't get that time, then we know so we don't establish. So moving forward, we also look at the opportunity for this whole roadmap, but also identify funding opportunities because government money not do for no reform in this country. I can take the whole GDP of the government is for do reform, you know they do. So we need to look at funding opportunities during what they do. So the technical working group sits at the office of the presidency. And even tomorrow we'll get to the second meeting, we'll discuss critically on the vision and the mandate. But most importantly, the other issue don't surface. Now we get 2 institutions under the public sector. We have the civil service and we have the public service. In the Constitution of Sierra Leone, you get the civil service, something we cover the civil service. But when you go to the Constitution, there is nothing about the public service. The public service section 150, 150, 151, and 152 only talk about an institution, like the Public Service Commission, but not talk about the public service. So we need to develop a chapter in the Constitution that gives a clear understanding of the public service of Sierra Leone. For now, we just say this institution belongs to the public service, but it's not categorized under the Constitution of Sierra Leone. So we also don't get a subcommittee to look on that, and we don't begin sit for draft a chapter, for that particular for the Constitution. Moving forward, we also think of, we get what you call the African peer review mechanism, with this ministry at the focal point, and the president and the chair. We don't write them and inform them, say, we have this responsibility, one for them they can support, where they help you for the reform, they don't agree. So one of the big activities they can very soon in October 5 and 6, we need to get a multi-stakeholder conference. We have the APRM in the OECD and count them toolkits for kind of analysis of the present situation in the public administration, and then we'll see how they go, which areas they put gaps in there, which area they will intervene. For now, the one for look at fair learning, we staff them in other countries who don't succeed in reforms, see what they don't do and can put in context as Sierra Leone, capacity enhancement and building, local side we send, we staff them, other civil servants, and then they go study about new trends in civil service and public service, but also the digitalization system. We want to go e-governance. Sierra Leone want to go full blown. In the next 2 years, the president don't give me an assignment in Salon for going to full blown e-governance. So therefore, do digitalization, so then save the care and but the most important thing, what I know, say people that want this thing is about salary harmonization. And everywhere I go, anybody who can have the office, the two that they talk about is, Mr. Minister, what about salary harmonization? Yes. The good is they don't establish the wage and compensation commission. They don't go through parliament, president don't sign. Now it's there. There is now a move for them to constitute the body for the commission. But the assignment for achieve that for harmonized salary get a long way for you. One, we go with the data set. The data set means the civil servant they will get, the public servant they will get, put them in a different rates, so that when you give the commission will insert into the system and address the grading system and the salary harmonization. But that is ongoing. We also need to talk about one bio-identifier. Now we get the PIN code for the HRMO, we get the NACIT number, we get the NIN, all kinds. How do we harmonize them three here so that every Sierra Leonean gets a single identifier, and any side you go, they don't need to know your surname, they don't need to know that you, they just need to enter your number, and every time about you they promote, the way we use that now for as the data set for harmonize the salary scale. That is not the simple one, but there is a whole lot of things there for doing that will for the next 2-3 years. But at now this is what we are doing. It's going to be tedious, it's going to be difficult because there's going to be a lot of back and forth. But this is what we are doing now to make sure, first, we establish the ministry, we establish a roadmap, then we do an assessment of waiting at the present situation in the public administration. Then once we don't get the roadmap now, we can identify funding opportunities, the way to full-blown implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know say this na area where people are interested in, especially the salary harmonization, which make some people they get high salary in the same position, but other people they get small salary, low salary, you know. So Minister will give you further updates during the question time for opportunity for making a discuss. From that day, we will now come to the Solicitor General, where they can give you general updates on the government white paper and also on the constitutional review process. Because remember, say this weekend, like I don't say, we get this retreat, and it's important because the way how we go able to advance and improve with democracy, that's alone. Now we'll make sure say we get progressive laws, we get constitution where they reflect the country, constitution where they reflect the aspirations, the demographic of we population, and also how we want to make the country day and standing at the world. So I will call on Lawyer Kua, who is Solicitor General, for giving updates on that one day.
Good afternoon now. I think me go start by going back briefly to the history why we talk of a constitutional review. For the one that we know, or some of the one that we don't read them, and some of the one that we witness them, or some of us we are a little bit younger not to understand the gymnastics of the game. This emanates because of the long civil war where we get Sierraleone. And when we get the Lome Peace Accord, where people are about, it became a national commitment in that agreement where Parliament approved that we for review we constitution. And we notice after the Lome Peace Accord, we will get what we call the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which will be set up, where they look into the causes of the war and what is happening to development in Sierra Leone. In them, their reports, they also recommend that the constitution be reviewed. Based on that, after the war done in 2007, the government then in power initiates the review of the constitution by a committee we set up when Dr. Peter Tucker be the lead. Dr. Peter Tucker gave a white paper in 2008. And because of time, that white paper action not be effectively taken on that. Coming another government led by President Kuruma, they look into that white paper, review that white paper, and come out that then there is need for set up a constitutional review committee comprising wide range of people, which consists of about 80 participants, inclusive civil society, international organizations, Sierra Leoneans, political parties, and the rest. And that committee, now a former justice, now deceased, the late Justice Edmond Cowan, be lead them, and he come out with a report. And then he set that out in 2013, and the report came out in 2016. You know, we have this Ebola intervention and the rest of it. When that came out, the government looked into the recommendations and came out with a white paper. And the white paper came out in 2017. Due to change of government, implementation of that white paper not go through. Then coming the administration of President Bio. We set up a committee again for looking into the white paper of 2017, and in December 2021, they have come out with another white paper. So we also look at the efforts made throughout the period since 1999 when they signed the Lome Peace Accord to 2023. That is 24 years after the Peace Accord was signed and the recommendations to review the Constitution given. Government still committed to act on that. That necessitates that we have a changing situations for 23 years, coupled with the fact that government, in its wisdom, in different ways, will not take some actions towards the recommendations. So there is all need now for review all of these white papers over the years. The root being the wide consultation with Justice Edmond Cowan will do, so that we can come out with a comprehensive review we go good for the development and the peaceful coexistence of Sierra Leoneans. Nobody know there will tell me, say, no, say always, possibly after elections and after some other actions, or when elections occur, we only run for going at the Constitutional Court when at the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone. And we don't get enough experience from the court because most of the time the court is direct when interpreting the Constitution for we. We ask ourselves if that's necessary. Based on court decisions, all they come into play, the latest being the decision in the PR system, so that we go able to come out with something we will last we possibly for centuries. Why we feel to say at this time we're not just going to implement white paper, we review thoroughly, because some of the things that the Justice Edmund Cowan recommend, some action may not take place on them. Not all thing the government looks in need for the inside constitution per se. Constitution can be the summary of it, but the details, I think to say we have taken actions. And as I say, of recent, the government take some bold action we over the years previous governments have been not afraid to take. And these actions were taken cleverly by legislating acts to the effect that you not equally touch what the Constitution say, but you comply for the good of Sierra Leone. The abolition of the death penalty, we all realize now one thing we be inside Justice Cowan recommendation. And now we all go be happy that we have no more death penalty in Sierra Leone because of an act of parliament. We also will be aware, say, of course, we were there, most of the media people who don't know the outcry of the libel laws, how inconvenient it may be to them. And when you look at the Constitution, some of them things when you go under the freedom of speech, you go under section 27, talking about discrimination and everything, the government don't repeal the libel laws there. And no longer they in existence. Of recent, you will see say the Constitution talk about education. It should be, we will not get a situation where there was a perception that it was a privilege. Now it is a right. Of recent, there is an Education Act where we all benefit from. Moving towards that, we talk about discrimination. Though discrimination, you have the positive side of it, which in some cases could be accepted. But in a bid to empower Sierra Leoneans, especially women, that don't be handled. And of Justice Cowan be making a recommendation of 30% representation of women. Now we have the Gateway Act where everybody happy about. Equally also, you have other legislations where the Constitution talk about some amendments, environment. The Constitution deal with environment, and Justice Cowan recommendation deal with environment. We can boast of the Environmental Act. It is now available. We also have the freedom to information. We can boast of those legislation in our laws. So this tells me that gradually there has been actions over the years in trying to make sure things work out based on that recommendation. What do we need to do now? We get to make sure we look at the document who we want to provide for run this country for let it be in line with the acts and the way they don't pass, so that we can able to deal with things smoothly. We just no need for just do things in haste. This is a modern age in which we all know see technology don't develop to certain levels, and they bring with so much issue. We last elections we go on it by the PR system. How necessary and how advantageous that could be in Sierra Leone in consolidating peace and stability. This was a recommendation then. So this is so far where the law office don't go with the issue of constitutional review. And that necessitates the meeting for take place from Thursday to Sunday of this month last, so that we can able get a team, a strong team. We will look at their issues there and try to come out with something again, maybe white paper or so, or whatever, but we will be a comprehensive review of the Constitution so that we cannot be going back and forth all the time. And there has been a setup of certain people that get responsibility for present certain of the recommendations for compilation so that it can be for onward submission to the authorities, so that the authority will able to look at them, recommendations and they're taking into consideration all the one that we don't pass into law, let we get something where we work towards. So it is not a situation where that Lome Peace Accord is dead and buried. It is up and alive and active, and we still go by waiting on that commitment. I want everybody to take into consideration that agreement been presented to the Parliament of Sierra Leone, and the Parliament will approve them. So it live with we as one of the laws that we around we. So it gets the duty, the Attorney General gets the duty and responsibility to make sure actions be taken on that. Because we are almost done with a whole generation on that. If you think 23 years or 24 years or thereabout, a generation is about 20 years. We've done with a whole generation, we are still grappling with it. So we want now, as government, don't commit itself in the big five for say we finish at this time. So that is the position so far.
Thank you very much, SG. So in a nutshell, well, the pass over for the clap, eh? So in a nutshell, the reads that for let governments look at the white paper will be done launch in December for update them, upgrade them for the things the way we will say government we don't pass, we will not pass it, and then we'll take next steps, and then next steps then they will put them together now for cargo cabinet, and the public will know the next step the way government they do. We also know say we get with Sister Naya, we are the executive secretary for Independent Commission for Peace National Cohesion. We after the elections, then we also be engaged for post-elections stakeholders engagement. We include people and out of the people and they also include political parties then. And one of them political parties will be the border the APC. We then be engaged them back lengthily on many of the things that we are concerned and for see how we for able to start the dialogue process and for continue for strengthening the governance. So we go with Sister Naya. We don't be part of this process. We could just give you a summary of a rundown of after the elections, which they don't do. USA will do now because last week they also presented a report of their findings and recommendation to the president. So you could take me through our summary.
Yes,
Comment? Oh no.
On a beer with small, the try for adjust the mic. Because you go find out where you will sister fine until they present to you. Okay. So whilst they arrange the mic, my sister will give the update.
okay. I want to say the Independent Commission for Peace. The Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, now the organization or the institution we're responsible for ensure say we all, Mama Salon, enjoy peace and cohesion. That means brother and sister, we see ourselves as one. Now this country and world push for peace, for the interest and the development of Mama Salon. Against this background here, so I should say we all know what we done to do before election. All man see say before election, we not been just to engage one side, we engage all political parties involved. Yeah. Thank you. We will engage all political parties then for make sure say we go enjoy a peaceful elections. And I sure say we also notice say even when small draw big day between the ECSL and the APC, we also been trying for bring them together so that they were able to talk to themselves, understand the issues then, and we've been there with them for 3 days, almost 3 days now, been to Mali till after the elections. Elections don't done, yes, we all know that. But we know say even after the elections, but putting them no go as all man wants, including people them who say they not still they participate in governance. Against that background, they and understanding we role and we mandate as Peace Commission, we been done firstly start for engage the two main political parties then, the APC and the SLPP. We try to talk to them. For the SLPP, one of the things them where we keep talking to them and for them we understand how we go continue to push peace message. So if you know we now you for begin to push the peace message around, then I sure say we all will notice say that allow the social media I don't stop them. Now they all day the dialogue, peaceful one in the your way. Another day, we also engage the APC. APC party, we do a lot of individual engagements first. You know, so first lost now you asking one. That's normal. If you say where you not come first in a class, you go jealous the one we come first and the one we come second. And you go one for business the next thing. Well, at the same thing. APC not be happy, so we also try to talk to them first separately until finally we'll be able to bring them together and do a fact-finding mission. For let we understand. We don't see on the press release the way they may not scatter all over the place and raise their concern, but we want to get them from the horse's mouth. So we get for go there and go meet them, and then be very accommodating. Now they're very pleasant atmosphere, I would say that, very friendly. More members say one of brother and sister. One way or the other, we're all interrelated, whether by tribe or by religion or whatever. So we will be enjoying the meeting peacefully, and then have table all the concerns they will then get concerning post-elections and elections. And we tell them, say, okay, una thank you, don't carry this, but we not go tap there. We go share this with the opposition. But one of the things where they tell me at that meeting there, they no get problem with SLPP. They no get problem with Madabio president. Waiting they get problem with the government of Salone. So they want for dialogue with the government of Salone and not with SLPP. So against that background, they will say, okay, if not that una want, then una message not to the chairperson of SLPP we go care and go to. We go care una message and all una concern them to the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, which now exactly that we've been do about 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago actually. We've been go in a state house as a commission, which we chairperson will lead the process, and we board members and a few of we staff there. We take this message and we can go tell the president exactly what have been in concern. One of the key concern, one of the things that will be glad about for all that talk where we talk, they say they're ready for sit down and talk. They're willing for sit down at the table and talk with the government of Salone so that they will bridge the gap and work in the interest of Salone. We tell them, say, okay, fine, we're ready for work with you now. So I want this work for go on. They say they want international people then for can sit down and mediate with we, the Peace Commission, between the government of Salone and the APC government. We tell them, say, fine, we don't hear you wait to say, but because now the government of Salone, we need authority from the government of Salone for bringing international people and come mediate. So that has been part of the team them where we tell presidents about say they need waiting with man called habitat. Then for can sit down and talk this case with we the Peace Commission. And President Sef been do a press release after that, and in response to we visit Stolam, and he say key highlights that in willing for later international people they also come sit down and get a conversation with between the two. Let we all sit down. Peace Commission now we they take the lead. Now we always don't begin take the lead on this as state institution. Make we work with the international people. Because President been giving that go ahead day for make the international people they come. Quick one, because we know how we stand. We don't tell all to the party then say why they talk about party mean two people now so then they talk about now mediation. So you know me saying that the SLPP are they refer still to the government of Salone. We tell them two different parties they also say we not ready for make this thing move quick one. So immediately we contact the Commonwealth, we contact the AU, and we also contact the ECOWAS. And I want to tell everybody say, then three people here, so we don't talk to them, they say they're willing for come na Salone and for can dialogue, for can help the Peace Commission, because government give me the mandate for make we write to them, not to government write to them. So I not say that the Peace Commission they do all this. So we write to them, and they say they're willing for can dialogue with we. So now this process we did now, and some even give we dates where they're ready for come because we propose date, they give we dates, and we will work on that as I talk to you right now for make sure say they come, because I know say some man they don't book the ticket all for reaching a Mama Salone for can talk this case. Now we day right now as I talk to you. We also they get behind the scenes meeting for make sure say all man are ready and we're ready for can table this talk and we talk this talk so that all the concerned will come at the table, people will witness waiting they say and how the international people then will not say all the problems are not going to solve one time because we also don't develop the methodology as a commission how we expect this negotiation for go. We know say something that they will get for solve one time, something that a medium term goal, and something that a long term we will solve them. So now so we don't program them so that when they come, then system will draw them roadmap, then system will put things them in the category how they want them, and then system will decide how they will solve the problem. We the habitats then not only work, but we'll tell how to solve the problem. Now then the two parties then they will sit down and agree how they will resolve the problem here. So if I want to tap the talk, now yeah, so we did now as Peace Commission for ensure say peace maintain our Mama Salone.
Thank you very much. So like I was saying, the dialogue now between APC and the government of Sierra Leone, not between APC and SLPP. And also the dialogue will be led by the Peace Commission, supported by the international partners, the Commonwealth, ECOWAS, and AU. So we can now come to Alpha Khan, AK11, for mentioning short updates and summary of what happened at the presidency. A few comment them before we go to the first set of questions. Then we will be on start in the next 5 minutes. So over to you, Alpha Khan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Deputy Minister for Information and Civic Education. Good afternoon, all. Journalist and good afternoon. I'm glad for the idea once more, and particularly in a panel whose side all the 4 issues we have not put across, starting from the Ministry for Public Administration and Political Affairs. I've been on it as a minister, although it was not called so then. But of course, the mandates may cover aspects of that we'll call the establishment. Not an easy ministry, stuff. But I know say the minister will not put the American the capacity, capability, and ability for making able care and go before. The issue of the CRC, I did from the beginning. I did even from the conception of the 1991 Constitution. So I did again when the review be started. Because then, I mean, I'm a member of parliament. So when the late Mr. Peter Tucker, when they head that commission, we did meet some panels. So we know the progress. And also, when the white people come to the government where I will be part of them, I will also involved. And when the president then, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, set up his own CRC review committee, of those 80 members, maybe they represent the APC in that. So I know about all. And the ICPNC all started from the Bintu Mani 3, where President Biobin called. Because when they came in 2018, the very first thing we do, November of that year, they called all man in the country. So when I send representatives, I don't like the way we country to go, we seem for the drifting apart. And so alone a small country. Now look and heads and see how we can resolve it. A lot of people turned up. But from the APC, I mean, no more people. But apart from that, we still bring in some takeaways. And I take away the name, make sure, see the ICPNC, now it is in place. And look at the good work that they do now. All the tensions were apart, because for me there is really not much to do, talk about. Tension are we the creator. We were there on different sides. Then don't defend we, for let them bridge the gap. We are always the talk say, coming from Usade, they come to Usade, I want to be a bridge. And the bridge is what we need in Sierra Leone. And I think say the ICPNC could be a vector, a carrier for that. So I congratulate you for that. So the SG, I believe say, you don't almost highlight aspects of the CRC recommendations before. We don't turn into acts of parliament, we don't become law, which means we are not averse to improving the governance system through the Constitution. So on that basis, I deserve a president, where for me, I see him as a law-abiding president. He actually sticks to the Constitution. Anytime you speak to President Madabio, he will ask you, say, you know, check relevant sections of the Constitution. He doesn't want to step aside, step out of that Constitution. And we're very lucky. Some presidents throw the Constitution away and do it in a want. This one, a one way, they keep that. He like it or not, give it to him. Yes. When he was a soldier, he was a leader. In 3 months, he handed over. I said, this is not my time. Let the Constitution reign. And he did that. So a man like that, not supposed to we were expecting he could be a dictator. He could be an autocrat. Or he could be what you call somebody where they just run the country the way he want. And when he came back the second time, the very first speech we make, when he knows where I mean, after the election results, he said, I'm sending an olive branch, and he called me brother, Dr. Samura Kamara. He did call him by name. I was surprised. He said, come look, come look. For Sierra Leone, this election done done. And by all intents and purposes, now all the I will agree. I don't see one journalist with his hand talk say the election was not free. was not fair, was not credible, was not transparent. I don't see that at all. And that's a fact. And then we lost really further. The Presidential Elections Act of 2022 you say when the results have been announced by the body, the head of the body will indeed that power from the Constitution, i.e. the ECSL. Any citizen, once you're a registered voter in Sierra Leone, if you have issues with that election, you have 7 days within which you can make your complaint known to the Supreme Court. 8 million of us, including the opposition, including Dr. Samuel Kamara, nobody not going to Supreme Court. So it means 8 million of us cannot be wrong. We all say the election be free, fair, and transparent. But they call the executive secretary of the ICPNC say, if you play football, he lost on that game, but we have to have one. So it's very difficult for them to just grab to say, so we will tick for you, you don't give me money back. However, now that the ICPNC don't begin break the ice, don't begin stretch out, because we said the offer for that, we it's an original out. Not to Africa for out, and I wouldn't go there. Because now they will say I'm one-sided, but I'm not. I'm a statesman now. And I believe say what I want, now peace for Sierra Leone. But coming to the details of what President Biodi do right now, when he does set up in government after elections, or still setting it up, because I keep telling people, President Jack, not too easy job. First of all, the appointment, not a small number of people can get for appointment, 966. So we're still grappling with that. That kind of day, difficult for me, I don't want to understand. Because every night you lie down, you remember, would I go for Chandler, would I go do this, what would I do? We got so many interests. But with that, you got to be ambidextrous, you have to be a parallel processor. You would grapple with your own problems we get at that time. And running the country at the same time, because running the country can't wait. It has to carry on. So Sierra Leone has been running. Chief Minister, they run up and down, they go and check how other ministers they work. The Ministry of Internal Affairs, they look after the security of the country. The defense, they look for any external incursion. And of course, we, in State House, we did begin by the support for carry-on. The last 2 weeks, the audiences that we get. The audiences that we get. The young man, nobody call me. I'm called a spokesman. That's what they do. Not to talk, they call me. So the audiences that we don't take, the particular one that we I think is important to us, now the ECPNC, where they can present them report, in don't give you already a rundown. But then also the president don't meet with the paramount chiefs, the heads of the paramount chiefs, the National Council for Paramount Chiefs, they don't come meet the president. And what did he do? We got 190 or so chiefdoms in the country. The president believes that they chiefdom and they put together and they make one whole Sierra Leone. So now he has this big five. Don't can hand over around to them, especially the farming, the agriculture, for them feed salon. So you don't do that one day. But of course, we don't get some external incursion, pressures, we don't count. The first one was last week. So the week before that, the ICC, we write letter, they request a meeting with His Excellency the President when he goes to the United Nations General Assembly. But I believe she now understands it was a request. So we don't need to belabor that. When they go, when the President gets time, he go meet with a lot of people, including maybe Karim Casey of the ICC. But then the other thing we happened is that we received on the 31st of August a press statement from the State Department for saying, because the State Department believes, say, small UQ is in play by the election, and at the same time, some people have been there, they threaten others, where they intimidate others, where they curse other people, for when they're afraid for go exercise their rights and all that, which means they're not targeting anybody, as they say, they're not targeting the people of Sierra Leone, no, the government, and people will then believe, saying that they do that, and then they say they're not going to restrict them if they ask for visa for go visit their country. When I hear about that, and I believe, say, we all understand now where it stands. They're not leaving nobody. Now when you go, now you go know. So if I reach here, we're not going to speculate. Now they're right. If you say, if one go put lock up, I say, we know we can put lock up, I'll pass it up to you. You know? So if that is the case, we will not left for now. We will sit down. I wait there for any questions. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Like on the last one we say, not to against the government of Sierra Leone or the people, but also the first step. Remember, say in September 2017, then we also be trying for do visa restriction for the issuance of B visas. You know, so not to say the first step, then see how they happen. But government is committed for advance with democracy. Government is committed for make sure say we review the electoral system. Now make the president be appoint the vice president for lead that committee day. And the committee right now we can do boku work for put the concept together and do some consultations together. And also we look forward to the dialogue, because the vice president and the committee also feel safe. Once the dialogue also don't complete, it's also good for also include APC inside the review of the electoral system, because that's some ideas for how for improve. Not just for look at what ECS they do, but also look at what election bodies they do. So for instance, how the media they cover election, the security sector, PPRC they work. So it's a comprehensive review of the electoral system. Also just ECSL. And we get questions that we don't ask, so we will go through that quickly before we come to journalists that we there. I will run through the questions then, and then I will probably assign that we will take 1 minute per then for specific people then. This one starts first for the Minister of Public Affairs. They say, from Philip, this is the one that we ask online. Philip say, as a concerned Sierra, please, why is our president so weak in taking action against the so-called foreign ambassadors like that of the US, UK, and the EU? Well, president's not weak. Remember, say we get relationship with other countries. Then, when a partnership of equals and of sovereignty, we mean say any ambassador over there. For instance, the US ambassador, it represents the president of the United States. The High Commissioner of UK over there, it represents the Prime Minister and the government. So I think, say, presidents, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it relates with them at that level. And also another question they ask, I'll make we go through them quickly. Then from Abu Emmanuel Kouma, he said, how do we hold people in public offices accountable when they fail us as a nation? Then the Santiago left the minister for talk about that one day quickly. From this anonymous, he said, is the Lunge Bridge going to ever actualize as was planned by H, the president? And I will left one to Alpha to be one minute to the one day when I can talk for the president. And Matilda Ikan Sonsiama, they say, Mr. Kalong, don't you think the public service, starting from the PSG downwards, needs total cleaning of the old folks and allow fresh graduates? The same material they ask say, Mr. Kalong, just as our HEBO has decided to use more young people in governance, it will be wise if you and the PSC do likewise. And then Jumbo Sinde say, why is it that government late for pay the fee subsidies for first term, fees paid in second term, likewise for the other terms? And then they also asking questions them way from Anonymous. He say from last year, the topic of digitization has been the big topic in Parliament. Please, I want to know why we can't achieve this as a nation. And then other person Anonymous say, Mr. Deputy Minister, I want to know how the Fit Salon project is going to start. Time is going, agriculture is a deal, and we get for start now. Other person they say, our national commitment for development must be commonplace for collective essential responsibility in our respective zone, and a comment. One Anonymous person back they say, I actually want to know why the president is refusing to upgrade the southern part, especially Moyamba, Bond, and Pujol, which are the most remote districts. And then another person they say, what is the government doing to caution the effect on extreme hardship facing the country, especially with the subsidy going on? And then the last one, they say, Minister Kalong Sierra Leone had the chairmanship of the APRM since last year, and it is for 2 years tenureship. Can you please shed light on its impact? I will just start quickly. I'll just go quickly with few of the things on government subsidy. Now, government pay subsidies for last academic year, with the exception of the third term. And for Ministry of Finance, then don't inform me say that the third term subsidy for schools, they will pay them in the next 2 weeks, either this week or next week. And also government, school they just open. So government subsidy normally for the first time, government they wait, say the schools they don't do the enrollment. So we know almost speaking again at school, almost schools the government don't approve. So when they put all together, 90 inform government subsidies. So now so government go for use for this first time when you do, but for the third time, we now last academic year government will pay in the next 2 weeks. And then for agriculture, I also want to tell and say the minister and the packer, and they put together a document for make them launch the Feed Salon program. And he informed me say he want to do next month. When and how the 10 each, I will also make on another one day. And then the one for the waiting make government they refuse for upgrade the southern part, when Moyamba, Bond and Pujol. And I for no say in the last 5 years, government implement beaucoup projects them. Na Moyamba, na Bo, na Pujol. For instance, we know say government do some work on CLSG on the lights. Na Bo, they also do on Moyamba. Government also the Mabang Bridge na Moyamba. And government also rehabilitate beaucoup schools them health facilities. So that possibly indeed government not they refuse for upgrade. Government they do plenty work now the southern parts, but also across the country. Now the north, now the western area, and also now the east. So I will stop there so far for allow the minister for just answer to the few questions they will direct to them. Just 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Minister. The first question, I think government get a lot of structures the way they set in place for holding TPRs accountable, what we can call the public servants, including the president himself. We get the audits, and we know say the audit are one of the structures the way they don't set for audit and hold the TPRs accountable. Within the system itself, they go to them called performance appraisers, where they use, we staff them, then before the year they begin, then they come up saying A, B, and C we want to do. And each staff within the system, they look at what they want to do, and then for the new activities and define the new indicators. And then they make sure say any trade they do for fit into the indicators. By the end of the year, then they do staff appraisal based upon the things the way say they do. and that they use also for assessing you if you succeed. At the ministerial level, we go to call with performance appraisal also, which is the long we are right now. We are already changing we activities the one set for next year, and we deliverables, the indicators, then the follow week and see if we achieve them. At the parliamentary, we call the parliamentary accounting committee. We also look at the call MDs, the institutions, then they come and ask them questions about what they do. So there are various layers of structures that we government set in place for all duty bearers accountable. We have the ACC, the Anti-Corruption Commission also. We also get the how they call them, the ombudsman. It's another accountability tool where they use again. You have the legal, the law. The law is another accountability tool again. So we have various, depending on waiting at the issues at hand, we have various structures where they set across the country for all duty bearers accountable. APRM, the president 2 years back, then they appoint him as the chair of the APRM, and in January 2024, they relinquished the position as the chair for another region in Africa for the world. 5 targets will be set for the president. Number 1, we say we want to get universal accession to the APRM, meaning all the 54 countries of the AU, we want to get them access to the APRM. Number 2, we want to improve on partnerships, so that the APRM was not to go assign lots of partnership pacts. We do not partners, then we for support the drive for implement Agenda 2063, we call the agenda, the Africa we want, with the 7 aspirations there. Another one also we actually for celebrate the 20 years of the APRM. Yeah, and the 4th one, for let's Sierra Leone as the chair of the APRM, do in 2nd country generation review. We don't do the 1st one in 2015, we're at the base. Now we do the 2nd generation review. How far we have gone? We almost don't get out of the 54 countries, now those 4 countries now that we don't access to the APRM. So within the new time, we don't get 8 out of the 12 we did, we don't accede. And then a strong discussion with the president, they get with them president and therefore they accede. Second is it has to do with partnership. Now the APRM can boast of one of the institutions and the world will get the largest pool of donor partners when they look at various projects them across Africa inside these 3 years. The 20th anniversary, now March them before Holland, was as a result of varying things that we have the unconstitutional change of government in Africa, ODC, the CAM work across Africa. So the president during that period, in 2022, they asked him peers in the African Union that let them change the African governance report team from looking at the 4th industrial revolution of Africa for looking to unconstitutional change of government in Africa. So they will do how we call a targeted review in 12 countries in Africa, and that reported document the president will report to his peers. Sierraleone can go this power next month to the report beyond. By November, we celebrate the 20th anniversary of APRM in South Africa with the president, with the CSF, when I get for the key celebrant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will just ask Alpha Khan for just on the Lungi Bridge, 1 minute. President committed to the Lungi Bridge.
Yes, President still committed to the Lungi Bridge. All he wants now peace. No one will suffer. Because we know still suffer, and then don't begin lay the foundation safe. We are ready to hit the road. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And also on the digitalization as well, NIMEC President established Renew Ministry for Communications, Innovation and Technology because President committed to that one day. So we'll take questions then from the all now. We can start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we start with you, sir.
Yes, sir. My question, permit me, sir, to ask 2 questions. Yes.
No, one, sir, limited to 1, sir. Yes, 1 question per person. Yeah?
So, I mean,
yeah, on the big, sir.
Okay, let me go to the Solicitor General. Yeah. The next question for the Madam, I'll try to meet her at the office.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Solicitor General, sir, I've just received an information here that nobody doubts you when you're heading constitutional review because you won 95% of the cases at the High Court Commission of Inquiry. Then again, you represented Sweden as the case between Sam Sumana and the government of Sweden, and equally won it. Now, make I ask you, you talk of another constitutional review, despite this very constitutional review don't go into many hands. You talk of comprehensiveness, but would it still be comprehensive despite the change of generation, the change of times, and the change of behavior and all that?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The next person will be you, sir. Yeah, now for do and short. Yes, you name and do and short.
Yes, I'm Solomon Ray Wilson. I'm editor of Secretary newspaper. And the question I want to thank we Solicitor General for giving me historical information on how the constitutional review process all started and how the level of actions taken so far. But I just want to make you go back to we and tell them what will be the significance of having a new constitution in Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much. Yes, keep our short, nice and short.
Nina, Bokari Kamara, I write for the Newstorm newspaper. First, I do attend this press briefing from owners. But today, I don't see where you say, Lord, we pray. That's not one. Two, yes, observation. My question now, I understand say, and ACC investigative service. I want to know, two, and for waiting they investigate.
Yes, yes, man, yes. Now for one quick, yeah.
All right, my name is Suleiman Jal. I write for Expo Times newspaper. I want to question to the Solicitor General. According to you, over the years, over 23 years now since we started for a constitutional review committee, and they went over the report, but actions have not been done. As the Solicitor General, what do you think has been lacking, and as the current Solicitor General, what do you intend for putting in place, at least because the laws, forget the laws now, one thing, implement them is very important now in society. You talk about the Environmental Act. We don't say it there, but let me look at the Takugama Sanctuary. The land encroachers have taken place or have taken over the Takugama Sanctuary. You know, if we say something lacking as a government, as Solicitor General, taking to the fact that the laws have not been implemented. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, on this side. Gina, your only question then. Yes.
No, sorry. Nice to get you. This is going to Amara Alon, Minister of Public Administration. Yeah. You talk about the familiarization meetings as a new ministry, including that of HRMO, PS office, among others. But you not be able to tell me what's in the vision for the new ministry as to be the top position of us. You pay for it for we look at the mission of the setting up of the new ministry and the area of the salary harmonization. You know, if you say, I mean, like every day in and out, the crowd, you see social media, government, their points of create new ministries. You know, if you say, I mean, the wage bill is bloated every day and day by creating all of this. Maybe last one.
Thank you very much. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we could just make the reactions then to the questions then, short one or 1 minute. So we'll start with the minister.
Yeah, I think I make it clear, say a new ministry, you get a procedure where you need to go through. First, you get vision, you get your mission, you get your mandate, then gazette them, sorry, they pass them through cabinet, then gazette them before you come to legal ministry. So what we do now, we are looking at the vision, the mission, and the mandate. That's why we have a technical working group that sits in the office of the Vice President. hold the meet now for define the vision, the mission, and the mandate. Once we get done there, then now we go to an assessment. The assessment, they tell me the gaps that would exist in public administration for them to develop a roadmap or find a solution to the gaps. So it's a process. Is that clear? Answer your question? So now, salary harmonization with the present state of affairs in the country are two different things. Now, why we say salary harmonization? You get somebody within a grade 8, now the public service, they pay 10 million. Somebody in grade 8, then at the civil service, they pay 3 million. When all in a grade 8, we get different salary scale. So what you expect that person at the civil servant to do? They migrate for Canada the public service, for they can work. So what did happen with the civil service? They lost expertise. Also, because of the salary disparity. So what will the council can do now for harmonize that salary so that to get a uniform salary across grades and sectors? So for example, who do you rate with the vice president in the judiciary, in the legislation, in the Minister of Agriculture? Who do you rate with the vice president? Who do you rate with ministers? Who do you rate with parliamentarians across the board, across sectors? Once you don't do that grading, they don't do you don't lay you grading, you don't lay you details them. Then now as you run them across, you know say, I don't need for day that the Minister of Agriculture or Sawa for them to get the same salary. We just need for them that the grade, we get different area, we work at different sectors, we get the same salary. So that's what is for the commission we have for Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think I get 3 questions, but I will reduce them to 2 because 1 and 2 they deal with comprehensiveness and significance of having a new constitution. I have no mandate or authority to talk about whether the constitution is new or old. We talk of constitutional review. We review the constitution, maybe substantially or whatever, but that definitely will come out as we all go see. And the significance of that definitely we all are aware say we get lacuna, we get certain holes in the constitution we need for address, and that we always go to the Supreme Court quick. I think if I could recollect from 2004, the special court to date, we are always in the Supreme Court every year. I'll tell you for sure. Every year, from the setting up of the special court to date, we are always in the Supreme Court. Those are things we don't get enough experience in, and we think to say this time we want to put most of those experiences practically into the Constitution and see how it works. We also get the issue of what is lacking and implementation of the Constitution or whatever. Specific reference to the environment. We have the Environmental Act. It's going to strengthen when we get something in the Constitution talking about the environment specifically and detailed to the effect that it empowers the Act for be very strong. So it becomes a constitutional issue when you are environmentally unfriendly. We know now that is the vogue of the world. We talk about energy, we talk about everything, climate change and the rest of it. And we cannot stand in this century without having something in the Constitution that will save the future generation. So that is very important why make it come into Constitution.
Thank you very much. And the question on the SLBC, obviously we don't see on social media say boku allegations then they don't make. Being a lawyer and also know say allegation, everybody gets presumption of innocence. So it means say that what we do when the allegations and concerns then they come, the minister will try for contact ACC for me and do a forensic audit for no we say everything they happen inside it. When they're done, and also they will get back to the ministry for make we move them on. And I think say because of we commitment to the time. We want for make we get last roundup of everybody now on here for make them able to do the last word before they left. So we start with the only woman among we from the executive secretary our Somali.
Well, me want to tell all man say. Now one great salon we get, and we'll probably proud of we salon because the Global Peace Index don't tell me say now we're the 3rd most peaceful country in Africa, and it means say we far more peaceful than we neighbors them, whether Guinea or Liberia. So if anything happens, if you go, you go now in friendly environment, Salone safe pass them. So now you and me, we all responsibility for make sure say we keep Salone peaceful. One of the key things then what we can do now for watch what we post on social media and how we communicate on social media, because that now one of the biggest battleground right now in terms of journalism, ideologies, and everything. So if you want me Salone go before and continue for shine, you for make sure say you send out peaceful message. As journalists, I even see on a annual AGM they come this weekend and the theme na peace and national cohesion. So dear, una take the message they out for we. National reconciliation na key, and also peace na key for foster development na Mama Salone. And not forget for the pray for Salone, it's key. Na ya no more weekend. Thank you.
Minister?
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to make everybody know say reform of this nature is all out inclusive. The constitutional review part of the review of the public administration. The issue about peace with the independent commission is part of the public administration. The appointment with president they do, and they see on social media people they say they don't appoint Gary specialists, they don't appoint pepper specialists. But I think people, there are times we have to be serious about our country. If we are talking about moving this nation, they will therefore begin to talk about specialization. And agriculture is about specialization. You can't forget people who specialize. For example, when you go to Ghana, I'll give you a typical example. The Minister of Energy, when you go there, it remains different directors. You get director for solar energy. You get director for thermal energy. You get director for wind energy. You get director for this type of energy. So you get specialization. People that work exclusively is done for study a specific one and make sure they promote them as a trademark. The same thing in agriculture in Ghana, where we get cocoa specialists. Somebody know your whole life now cocoa is different. And come up with different varieties and different value chain activities the way for make them promote the cocoa and make them one of the things that they face export, when they face GDP to their country. And this is what we are. It's part that all what happens. So it's part of the reform of the public administration. We move to a different trend wherein we look at specialization, and that is exactly what happened at the civil government and the civil service. Specialization, whether in charge of teacher, whether in charge of this, whether in charge of that. So that when you go to the office, you make different specialities then, where you know, say now when you talk with them, they will give you something where we will use for you to push your agenda go before. So one for say thank you, and then we also go ready for support. It's going to be a massive reform, but I know say that we can do it because we don't do it before. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. We go to the SG and so we own that Africa.
Thank you, Chair. The only thing we go left for just reiterate that we all minds that let we give support to the Constitution for let we make them a reality this time. The Constitution is not just about few people. Now for protect every Sierra Leonean is responsible for that. For let we define Sierra Leone and state say we are Sierra Leoneans. Now that document is responsible for that. We can deal with it once and for all.
Gladly with the questioner, we ask the public service and public administration. Say perhaps in a time this now for the young people themselves begin to enter into important positions. The president don't lead. The president believes say we get talent among the young people. But the young people themselves have to believe in themselves. They have to make sure say they open themselves to all sorts of unfair and unnecessary commentaries where they come out on social media. The fact that you don't come up with the true stories when somebody is writing a fallacious story, when they left, when I feel wide open for let people them incur into our own field, our own space, as specialists in this field, the media will not agree. Because social media now, they wage war on professional journalists, when I say take the pen and fight against it, make we get peace in Sierra Leone. You are the opinion leaders. People listen to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And so we will end on the person we just asked about the hardship, government care, government concern. It means anytime we increase any price in this country, it means we will look at all the options then. And we will look at waiting at the least thing we will cause hardship. And even now they on the fuel, government still they subsidize, because if government subsidize, it means what you have don't pay for be higher than what's in now. On that note, I want to tell all the panelists and thank you. Thank you very much. We'll come back to our next week with our program, Government Weekly Press Release. Government Weekly Press Conference. Thank you.
This is Unity Broadcasting, so we just end the press conference. We'll just end the press conference as the minister will take a peek now.
Thank you.
This is not Unity Broadcasting, so we just come to the end of press conference. It's the government weekly press conference where they take place now. The foreign affairs. So they go offline now. I want to thank you for viewing as every Tuesday we go there for bringing on live coverage. This is the Unity Broadcasting. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you.